Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been seeing all your comments on TikTok asking me for reviews analysis for this one, so today, it's finally happening. But before we get into that, don't forget to check this exclusive discount for it. You can find the link in both the video description and the top comment below. Now let's not delay any further and jump right into the details.
To get things started, let's hear from our first reviewer.
This reviewer found this mouse to be exceptionally lightweight, with all its buttons and the scroll wheel providing a satisfying and tactile feel. Although the entire peripheral is constructed from plastic, it feels sturdy and well-made. A major highlight for this client was the built-in thumb rest, which was a significant factor in their decision to acquire this particular model. The most compelling feature and the primary reason for the purchase was the ability to use the device without installing any cumbersome manufacturer software. Our reviewer celebrated the fact that all settings are stored directly on the mouse itself, allowing it to work seamlessly when plugged into any computer, a feature especially beneficial for Linux users who are often left without dedicated software support from major brands. Customization is handled through a web portal on the manufacturer's website, a clever solution that avoids local software bloat. However, the experience wasn't without a few gripes. This client was frustrated that they were locked into 5 preset DPI stages, with no option to add or remove any. It was also noted as a strange oversight that a button could be assigned to cycle through DPI stages, but not to switch between different user profiles. The web-based customization tool also presented some hurdles. It exclusively requires a Chromium-based browser, and despite claims otherwise, our reviewer could only access it by connecting the mouse with its wire, not over the wireless connection. For fellow Linux users, a small technical note was made. A security protocol may initially block the web portal, but this can be resolved by adding a specific UDEV rule. Despite these frustrations, the overall sentiment is one of satisfaction, and this client plans to continue using this mouse as their daily driver.
Awesome. Let's hear what our next reviewer has to share about their experience.
This reviewer stumbled upon this mouse completely by accident, unaware of its release and noticing a distinct lack of online buzz. What caught their eye was the promise of a shape akin to the Logitech G502, echoing the familiar feel of their own G604, a device they loved but found a bit on the heavy side. So our reviewer took a leap of faith, drawn in by the shape and their past positive experiences with a keyboard from the same manufacturer, which has served them faithfully for years. And honestly, this client believes this mouse might be the best value proposition they've encountered in the mouse world in the past half-decade, after testing almost 30 different models. They were incredibly impressed with nearly every aspect, from the tactile satisfaction of the switches and their sound, to the thoughtful size and placement of the side buttons and the quality of the stock skates. The scroll wheel feel is just right, and the strategic positioning of the DPI and polling rate buttons is well executed. The shell feels solid and doesn't flex at all, and the coating is reminiscent of razors but with a slightly enhanced grip. The reviewer genuinely struggles to find anything negative to say, especially considering the price point. It feels like you're getting away with highway robbery. It's now been about a year since this client originally purchased the mouse, and they're still as happy with it as the day it arrived. It gets used roughly 8 hours a day for work, and often gets a workout on the weekends with gaming sessions.
Alright, let's find out what our next reviewer has to share.
This reviewer has to say this pointing device is pretty unique. You just don't see many options that balance being lightweight enough for fast-paced games with actually being comfortable and having extra buttons you can program. Most ergonomic-focused models feel like bricks, making them clumsy for first-person shooters, while most super-light gaming ones ditch any extra functionality beyond the basics. This device seems targeted at people who want a game, especially FPS titles, but also need something workable for general productivity tasks. Keep in mind, though, there are other mice out there that are more specialized, excelling in either gaming or productivity alone if that's your priority. Our reviewer also feels compelled to mention that the 8K polling rate is probably overkill for almost everyone. Sticking to 1K is more than sufficient. The biggest downsides for this client are the feel of the materials used, which come across as a little cheap, and a personal dislike for the harder, clickier switches used. While the latter might be a negative for some, they do offer increased reliability. On the flip side, the scroll wheel and side buttons feel great and are easy to reach. One last thing to consider: if you're sensitive to noise, the switches used are definitely on the louder side.
That's it for this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Appreciate you watching. See you next time.